Welcome today. We're honored to be with you today. Let me get this going here because it looks like my microphone's not working well. We'll see what's going on here. Yeah. Always have a challenge or two. You know what? We're just going to use this one. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're here today. Thank you for being with us. To me, this is the family gathering that we so much enjoy. So once a month, we come together. We create basically a community, which is the beautiful part about this. So this is the sort of the Lightworker community in many ways. So Aspavo to everyone. Thank you for taking your power, and thank you for being here today. We have some wonderful opportunities to come together and change the world. That's what this one's about. First of all, let me apologize for something. Those of you who are watching this on Saturday, July 27th, when I sent out the email yesterday, I sent it out and I said September 27th. I have no idea where that came from. I did hear from one of my best friends in the world, David Solinger, called and said, "What's going on in September? We thought we were having a VirtualLight today or tomorrow." So anyway, thank you, David, for calling. We appreciate it. I'll talk to you later with that, but thanks so much. And the reality is, I hope you guys understood. Now, the funny part about that whole thing, and I will tell you this has happened before in a couple of different situations, but the biggest time that the times that this usually happens, generally, when I put September 27th rather than July 27th, why I skipped August, I don't know. But generally that means that September 27th is going to be a very important day. I've marked it on the calendar. I don't know what's coming up, but we'll talk about that later. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're here today. I have a few announcements to make before we get into the program today. Meg is with us, of course. She's got a beautiful segment about why we want the things we can't have. I can't wait to watch that one myself. So anyway, we'll figure that out. But she'll be coming along here in just a few minutes. We have some wonderful things that I want to tell you about that are coming up in the future. First of all, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the second of Project Park Bench. Project Park Bench is an event where we are basically creating a community to experience a higher vibration. And this is between, right at the moment, it's just Jim Self with Mastering Alchemy and myself with Aspavo. And we're coming together and we'll be working with it. Tomorrow is going to be another one with Jim. So Jim's going to do 2 in a row. And then I'll be in on August 11th, the following every 2 weeks, we're going to do the podcast or the whatever you want to call it. It's basically a video audio event. So you'll be able to see it, hear it in a lot of different ways. It's a wonderful opportunity to come together and just experience the higher vibrations of what you are. And the idea of this is simply to come up here for a while, anchor your energy up here, understand what it feels like, bring in the joy, bring in the beautiful attributes that you're looking to bring into your life. And from that point, as we come back into our daily world, we bring a lot of that with us. And that's the purpose of this. So they're generally between an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half, somewhere around there. Come join us. Tomorrow, Jim will be doing number 2 in the Project Park Bench. We may end up with a third or even a fourth. We've got a lot of feelers out in different ways. But the main purpose of this, again, is to provide you an opportunity free of charge to come in and experience the higher vibrations so that you can take this into your own world and use it in a lot of different ways. So welcome. Yes. That's tomorrow, 11 a.m. tomorrow, and that's Pacific time. You can watch it here at aspavo.org on the free events page. We're right where you're watching it now. If you're watching it at aspavo.org, it'll be in the same place. It'll also be available on YouTube, Vimeo, a lot of different places that are hosted both by Mastering Alchemy and also by espavo.org. So we're coming together to create something very magical, and we hope you come and join us. Absolutely. Okay, Park Bench tomorrow every 2 weeks. Now, I also sent out an email, the one that I made the mistake on, talking about September 27th for today. I sent out an email stating that I was going to be doing some private sessions again. I haven't been doing them for a little while. I've been traveling a lot. As many of you know, I have a fiance who lives in Belgium, and I go back and forth quite a lot. She happens to be here right now this weekend, and we're actually this about 3 weeks. So we're having a wonderful time. I'll be leaving with her for Belgium for a couple of weeks in just a few days. So we're really traveling the globe with this love affair. So it's been very magical. But anyway, as a result of that, things are taking a lot of, I really have to do a lot of work here before I can travel because I don't have a studio over there in Belgium. I probably will build one. I'm building a small one right now, but it's going to take some time. So thank you for allowing me to make all these announcements and shove all this stuff into one place. There's several changes that are coming up with espavo.org. I will tell you about those as we go forward, but we're trying to get them all anchored in, tested out, everything worked out first. There's a new website coming. There's a new delivery system coming, a lot of different attributes that we are really looking forward to. But welcome today. And I want to send a special welcome out to the Light Masters as well. Light Master, of course, is our ongoing highest level event that we do. It includes minimum of 3 and usually 5 or 6 events every month. That's going to change going down the road. We're going to shift things around a little bit because quite honestly, I'm producing a lot of material, almost too much in some ways for people to digest. So I'm going to cut back a little bit on that coming down the road. But right now, it's just a wonderful place, and we'll always treat the Light Masters with the highest of respect. So welcome, Light Masters. Thanks for being here. If you're interested in finding out about Light Master, go to the front page of espavo.org and scroll down a little bit. You'll see a special link there that explains all about Light Master and what we're doing and how that works. Okay. Private sessions. I put up 2 days of private sessions 2 days ago. First day is completely filled. I'm probably going to put another day in there, so don't get discouraged. And from what I'm understanding here, I've been putting these days in during the week. I think it's going to be easier on you guys for the weekend, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to start putting these in. I put one in for Wednesday and I put one in for Saturday. The Saturday one disappeared very quickly. So I'm probably going to put either some more in on that Saturday or maybe even start doing a few on Sunday. That's fine with me. I can shift my schedule around and get my time off during the week. So that's no problem. So anyway, that's all taking place. The Olympics started yesterday. The Olympics are going, and I just love the Olympics. I have to tell you why. I know there's controversy about a lot of these things. I know that, with that much money, and we know this before with the bidding process for the different countries that bid on having the Olympics, and we know that there's corruption in some of this stuff. We've seen it, and we tend to turn our back on the Olympics as a result of that, but not me. I go to the Olympics for the sports. I watch the Olympics to cheer on these incredible athletes that are at the top of their game, that dare to put it all on the line for us, travel all over the world, and I am not going to let politics or my beliefs in corruption or anything else get in the way of that. So I love the incredible, wonderful competition we see here. And let me explain that for a second too, because this is important for me. If you go to the Olympics, or if you're involved in the Olympics, and you have a tennis player over here who's going to be against another tennis player over here, these two have the most incredible respect for each other. They really do. They're not angry at each other. They're not arguing. They're not trying to put one down. They're not trying to separate people to get on their side or to get on, or to make these guys the bad guys. It is pure sports, and that is absolutely worth watching, at least for me. So I do watch the Olympics. I'm very honored, very thrilled that it started again here. Every 4 years that comes up, and it's just a magical time. So the beautiful part about it, it is competition, of course it is, and yet it's healthy competition. They honor each other. And that is something we should emulate in many places throughout the world. I will tell you, the group is, I even know what they're going to talk about today. I send it out. Sometimes I really know specifically what they're going to talk about. Sometimes I have to guess. So if we send you an email saying the group's going to talk about this, the group can change it. I'll just be right up front with you. They change things at the last minute many times in the Lightmaster group because more things are more important than what we had planned. So this takes place a lot, especially in Lightmaster. But the Olympics are in motion, and it's very, very magical for us. You can compare this to what Jim and I are doing. Jim has a company, a business, Mastering Alchemy. He teaches spirituality. We could be considered to be competitors, but we're not. I love this guy. And the reality is he's doing an incredible job out there. And I'm thrilled to be working alongside him, not worrying about who's going to be here or who's coming here or what's going to happen here. And that is something very special. And we're going to try and emulate that, not just in the work and not just in Project Park Bench, but in the globe. Every single day of our lives, if we can get into a healthy competition where we respect everyone that we're working with and that we can work alongside them, it is time for unity. And that's what the group is going to talk about today. That's what they're going to talk about. Now, many of you have also known that for a very long time, the group has been talking about this pendulum swinging. It was we actually did an illustration of this in Remember back in 2000 when we published our first book. 24 years ago. And we talked about the pendulum, how it swings back and forth until it reaches a level where it actually has to, let me give you a better illustration. You swing back and forth. This is the fulcrum point right here. And how do we advance? We get this crazy pendulum swinging so far that it jumps the track and it kind of starts over again. And for a while, we're able to feel not only the division, but basically both sides, but the unity of that. I do believe we're right at that point, and that's what the group is going to talk about today. We're at that point where something has happened, and we have the opportunity to swing, to jump that fulcrum point to the next level and start this motion all over again, instead of being in these wild swings where one side is not right and one side is not wrong. We're just completely divided. We have an opportunity to come back in unity. You may also be aware that the group a while back came through as the group of 9 rather than the individuals, rather than Ilra, the keeper of time, M, the scientist of the heart. We haven't heard from some of these in a while. You're going to hear from one today. They're going to come back out today. You're going to hear from the keeper of time today. He's waiting in the wings, very, very overjoyed. He is absolutely the voice of the group of 9. So even though they're all right behind him, it's just which one steps forward to be the voice. That's really what takes place in these situations. So anyway, that's taken place. We're thrilled to be doing that today. Keeper of Time coming back. Let's see what I've got on my notes here. Backstory. Our own personal podcast. This is the podcast where I get to come in and tell people what the group has been telling me behind the scenes. And also the most recent things. For instance, if I were doing a podcast tomorrow, I'd probably tell you a little bit about what they're going to talk about today, because it's a way to reframe it in Steve's words rather than just a group. We've been very successful at the podcast. It is starting to build. And the way we have it lined up is that every 2 weeks, the first and the third week of the month will be the Backstory podcast. The second and fourth week of the month will be the Park Bench Project. So we have you covered pretty much with a lot of free material. And we hope you come and join us. We hope you honor that. We've got several ways that you can kind of pay it forward if you wish to do so. And kind of what happens when you do things like that is basically you anchor this material in on a different way because you're invested in a different way. So there's a lot of things you can do with that. Go to projectparkbench.com and you'll find a link right on the front page of aspavo.org. And if you wish to watch the Park Bench project for tomorrow, you can watch it there. You can watch it on Jim's YouTube. You can watch it on our YouTube. You can watch it on the page. If you're watching this at aspavo.org, wherever it is you're watching this, you're probably going to be able to see the Park Bench project there as well. So come join us at 11 o'clock tomorrow for the Park Bench project. What else? One final piece. We're doing 2 days of healing coming up in August. I do apologize. I don't have the dates. Anyway, late August. We're going to be doing 2 days of healing. It's an unusual situation because we've been doing 3-day seminars. They wanted to do 2 days for a couple different reasons. They wanted to bring the price down a little bit for people. They also know that we have opportunities to really anchor some information in. We're not going to be teaching a modality here. I will tell you that. But they are going to be talking a lot about signature vibration. Now, signature vibration was in our first book in Remember, 2000, and they've been talking about it ever since. So the signature vibration is basically the base vibration that you resonate to. Every single cell in your body responds to that vibration. The reality is you have your favorite music. Most of the time, it's because there's a lot of that signature vibration within that music. Sometimes, of course, vibration can not only be heard, but it can be seen as well. Sometimes you have beautiful paintings that you absolutely love. Your neighbor hates that painting. It looks terrible to them. They wish you'd take it down and they wouldn't have to look at it, type of thing, because it's not their signature vibration, but it has a lot of your signature vibration in it. So every time you look at it, you heal a little bit. Your cells in your body reset to their original state. We're going to be doing a lot of this. And 2 days, we're going to be working together to work with the signature vibration, reintroduce it into your physical body to allow you to realign every cell in your body in certain ways. And we hope, and some of you will take this as a modality. Please feel free. It's fine. Take the information that we have. Some of you will be taking it because you want to use it on your own clients. You want to pass it on in your own work. That's fine. The group is absolutely fine with all of that. And some of you are going to come for your own healing. Whatever the case, come join us. 2 days of healing at aspavo.org. With that, I'm going to bring in Meg. She's got a really magical piece today. So we'll be back with the channel from the group right after this. There's a lot coming up, by the way. The podcast, I will tell you, we probably not the next one, but a couple down the road. We have a really interesting situation in the staff at aspavo.org. We have people that are here that are working. We have some wonderful volunteers that have come forward. By the way, if you're looking to volunteer, we're looking for people specifically with graphics design work, graphics that want to help us look nice and want to help us dress up our work. Most of the graphics have been done by Elena Ear over many years. She's no longer with us. And basically, I'm taking a lot of her work that she's done in the past and using it. So the reality is we could use some refreshing graphics work. If somebody wants to volunteer for that, write to me, admin@aspavo.org. The other thing we're looking for, of course, is social media. You may be listening. We've gotten lots of email about Facebook being closed. Our Facebook was shut down. It was hacked. We've been hacked severely over the last, since October of 2023. We've been constantly hacked. We've been hacked in our ad campaign in the meta ad section, running up thousands of dollars worth of ads that were not ours. We changed passwords. We do everything they suggested, and we still get hacked over and over and over again. They finally closed a page on us. So we're going to start basically a new page. We're going to start over. It's the only way we're going to be able to really do it. We did have 5,000, which is the limit that you can have as far as friends. We did have our 5,000 friends, and then we turned it into a professional page and allowed a lot more people to come and join us. But we're going to have to start over. There's just no easy way. If you've ever tried to talk to Facebook or actually get a hold of someone at Facebook to help, it's pretty much impossible, at least from our experience. If anybody has any experience with that, please contact me. I'd love to hear, even just have a conversation about things that we might be able to do. But we do want to come back with Facebook. We do want, we still have our Instagram up. We still have our other ones up in different places. But the big one for us was always Facebook, and we are missing that right now altogether. So if you're interested in volunteering, come join us. But we have some wonderful volunteers right now. One of them happens to be a birth doula, a person who works with people. The groups talked a lot about this in Crossing the Veil. Of course, Crossing the Veil talked about both sides, before you were born and after you die, and the whole process of this. I get to interview two of these people. First of all, I get to interview Lavon, who's on our staff as a volunteer, a wonderful lady that we're going to be interviewing, who is a birth doula professionally. And then we have a new death doula. In other words, she's just been registered as a death doula. And that's Gail. Gail Harris has been with our organization as a volunteer for many, 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 many years. She was a producer of the VirtualLight broadcast for a long time. She helped us in so many ways behind the scenes. I want to bring her in front of the camera. She's agreed to do it. So we will have one of those backstories coming up probably in about a month from now, because I still have a lot of things to do. But we'll be interviewing a birth doula, and then 2 weeks later, we will be interviewing a death doula. Or maybe reverse. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Anyway, thanks for being with us, everybody. I absolutely love this, and I just want to say thank you to all of you for allowing me personally to play this role. I love you. Here's Meg.
Hi, everybody. So nice to be here with you again this month. Let's jump right in. What I want to talk about this month is, why do we tend to want what we think that we can't have? This is a really interesting topic that I want to break down, because there's actually logic and reason behind it. So I've been doing some research on the topic, and Dr. Pauline Willan is a psychologist, and she's the author of Taming Your Inner Brat, a guide for transforming self-defeating behavior. And she gives 3 specific reasons why she believes that you are always wanting what you can't have. The first, she says, is heightened attention. So when something is hard to get or it's forbidden, you immediately pay more attention to it. Think you go on a restrictive diet and you get so focused on all of the things that you're removing from the diet versus the things that you should be getting excited about that you're including in the diet. So all of a sudden, that pizza becomes something you need right now. Second, she mentions, is perceived scarcity. So when something is scarce or in short supply, its perceived value increases. You want it more because you think other people also want it too. You think because you might not be able to get it, it increases in value. So you want it more. There's more excitement. This is what auctions are based on. They're based on this frenzy that everybody's bidding on one item, and then it just starts to spiral upward. You're willing to pay more for something because other people want it too. And the third is psychological reactance, that people don't like to be told that they can't have something or can't do something. It's related to not wanting to be controlled by others, especially if the situation feels unfair or kind of arbitrary. It's both an emotional and a behavioral response. So I want to ask you a question. Have you ever met somebody who tries too hard? They're sort of performing. They try too hard with people. They're cracking jokes and they're sort of entertaining and they're performing for you. And you start to get a little uncomfortable, don't you? Sort of like, just like be yourself. It's okay. Take a breath. right? Maybe they're too loud, or maybe they talk too much, or they're fishing for compliments. We internally, each of us, we're sort of wired to keep neediness at a distance, if for no other reason than our own energy management. So we instinctively are protective of our time and our emotional energy. A dating columnist who's really interesting that I work with, I've been doing sessions with, and she said to me one day, straight out when I posed this question to her, she said, women don't feel attraction for men that are pushovers. I thought that was really interesting. It's kind of true. Women feel attraction for men who are a bit of a challenge, and vice versa. So why is that? Some psychologists believe that the psychology behind us wanting what we can't have is in satisfying our ego. That's sort of Freudian model based. But I want to pose something different today. I want to pose the question, what if the only reason, do you believe this is possible? What if the only reason you want what you can't have is because somewhere deep down inside of you there is a knowing, an innate knowing that this is where you're meant to go. This is where you're meant to grow and evolve into, like who you're meant to become. Kind of like a beacon, this inner guidance system. So I'm not talking about the things, right? I'm not talking about get the big house, it's who you're meant to be. I don't mean it like that. I'm talking about become the person who does so well that the big house is just the byproduct, right? The stuff, of course, that the stuff gives us the dopamine hit. That's why in the last segment I talked about the huge advertising budget with social media, and that most of our buying choices are being done on social media now. So that dopamine hit is really satisfying. But that hit lasts so much longer when we're doing what we're passionate about. Humanity, and I want you to consider this, humanity has 3 basic needs. The first is safety. So shelter, a roof over our head, food. The second is connection with others. We are wired to connect with others and with nature, our planet, to give love, receive love, our pets, connection. And the third is contribution. We innately know that we are here with purpose, and we have something to offer, something to give to the whole. It is that last one that will make the first 2 naturally fall into place. Right? If we follow that innate wiring within us that says we are here as a unique being, here to contribute something that no one else has that exact perspective or that way of presenting it or that way of expressing it, that we give to the whole. And you do that and build around that, that becomes your business, your income, that becomes your safety, that becomes your connection with others. It sort of drives the other 2, doesn't it? So if we are innately wired for contribution, and we're currently telling ourselves a story about why we can't have what we want, then we've got an inner conflict between what we believe and what the innate intelligence within us knows we're here to give, knows who we're supposed to evolve into, that plan for us, that plan for this lifetime. So my job as a clinical hypnotherapist is to help you align with that blueprint. In fact, that's what I call it when I'm actually working on client files. I'm listening and I'm looking for the blueprint, and we do the regression work to clean up the beliefs that are in conflict with it. That's what starts to bring the results, right? What we think and what we believe becomes our story. It becomes our identity. But what if the path, say for example, what if illness? I've always said illness is a path back to wholeness. What if illness is like a course correction back to that blueprint? There's a lot to dive in and contemplate with that. We are conditioned to look outside of ourselves for the answers, for the opportunities, for the signs. But really, the outside is just our inner beliefs that have taken on form, because everything starts in the unconscious. We first experience it in the unconscious. I have this desire. This is what I want. I can see it. I can feel it. I'm thinking about it. It's not in front of me yet. Right? For it to take physical form, to materialize, there is a process for that to happen. And in that process, if we don't believe we deserve it, if we've had experiences in the past that caused us trauma, that tell us that's not the right road, that's not how we get there, you can't get to that career by this education, or whatever it is that you tell yourself about why you can't have what you want, that becomes much more important to unravel and to look at where that came from. Because those thoughts are just thoughts. They are experiences we've had in the past. And yes, those experiences were true, but they don't have to be true forever. You at any point in time can become the autonomous adult that says, this is no longer my story. This is no longer how I'm going to identify with myself. And whatever I really feel innately that is important for me, I'll figure it out. I'll find a way. I'll start to understand that this was the direction I was meant to go in all along, and I don't need other people's approval of that. I don't need it to be validated from the outside. That's where most of our dreams go to die. We share them before we've contemplated them, looking for someone else to validate them. And the moment they're not able to meet us at the same level of desire that we have for them, the dopamine hit crashes. And then our self-esteem limiting belief gets triggered. They don't think I can do it. They don't think the world is the right timing, the right place. There's not enough money. Those people don't exist. Why would I meet someone here in that town? This town is too small. If you really were to look at what you want and what you believe right now, you're going to see that you tell yourself a lot of stories every day. This is what we all do. There's no criticism in that. We have been conditioned to tell stories ever since we were children. Why? Why do you want that? Why do you feel that way? Why? Explain it to me. Instead of, I just feel what I feel, and that's enough. Because I feel it. I feel that I want this for me. This is something I want to experience, and I'll figure it out. I don't have all the answers yet. When we start to do that, we start oscillating with superconsciousness. Because we weren't taught in school. Can you imagine if we took curriculum into kindergarten and helped kiddos process their feelings, validate their feelings, not because Billy was being a bully. That's more about Billy trying to figure out how Billy feels. That's not about you. There's nothing wrong with you. How are you feeling right now? That is very real. You are allowed to feel that way. Feel that way. You need to have a little cry? Have a little cry. You need to go outside and throw some rocks at a tree? Get that out of you? Let's go do that. Have your feelings. And then after you've had your feelings, come back around to understand that this wasn't about you. This is not personal. This doesn't become your identity. This is just a feeling that you're having right now. Can you imagine if we started to teach the kiddos how to master their minds? We would change the world in one generation, a very quick generation. We have not learned that the work is internal. We have been conditioned to react to the outside world and then tell stories about it. This is where it gets interesting. Why? This is where I do believe ego comes into play, because the moment we get anywhere near the story, meaning something might be wrong with us, that self-esteem limiting belief, you're not going to go anywhere near that. We're going to tell a story that makes sure we are not wrong, that someone else is wrong, that we were right. We protect that because we don't want to feel that pain. That's how the subconscious mind works. It will always try to move you away from that pain, including sabotaging your dreams. It will sabotage your dreams, not to punish you, to protect you. Because if your beliefs are, if I do really well, what happens? What's the fear? I'm going to lose my family. I might blow up my life. I might risk it all and fail. Fill in the blank. There is a worry. There is a concern. What you want and why you don't have it, there's a concern about it. There's a story in there about it. And your subconscious mind is going to protect your story to make sure that you don't get that success or that beautiful relationship or that thriving business or that healthy body or that vibrant energy, if it means that the way to that could risk you feeling that same pain by picking up that old belief. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if people don't like me? What if they just absolutely crucify me out there on social media because everybody's got an opinion about everything? Maybe I don't want to give up my privacy like that. We are story-making machines, and we think that the stories are real, but they're not. Those stories, if they are the reasons why you can't have what you want, they are just justifications to not feel pain. And those stories are in direct conflict with that innate wisdom within you that knows what you want and where you want to go. So we've got to clean up those stories. We've got to realize that when we were little, we created this identity around them and we were conditioned to compound that identity over time. So if I were to say to you, who are you? Tell me in a few sentences who you are. Would you go back to the past and tell me what's happened? Would you tell me about the future and the dreams that you have? Would you tell me today who you are and how quickly would that turn into a but or a because? I want you to watch, try, see, investigate. Because there is no cell in me that will ever believe that what you want wasn't already meant for you. I believe that yearning for it is that inner wisdom within you that knows it is meant for you. It's already it's in the unconscious realm. It is already there energetically. You want this. It is meant for you. It wants you too. But what's in the way between that is all the reasons you tell yourself about why you can't have it. And that in itself is almost like the reverse dopamine hit. It can drive us, but it can also really deplete us. We can lose all our energy trying to convince ourselves constantly because we have this yearning that won't stop. It won't go away. That's the part that I find interesting. How much energy are we spending convincing ourselves about why we can't have what we can't have, and then wondering why we don't feel well, wondering why we're tired, wondering why we're depleted, versus the amount of energy it takes to actually clean up the limiting beliefs and move forward, to forgive and let go of the past, to let everybody else off the hook, and to decide, I've got me now. I've got me. I'm responsible for me. I'm okay. I'll figure it out. I'll always be okay. I've got me. I don't need it. I don't need my dreams to be true for anybody else. In fact, that's kind of a buzzword that's going around with some high-level clients I have right now. Do not talk about the dream to anyone else except your clinical hypnotherapist, because you lose the dopamine hit. If you talk about it and you get the support and somebody else gets excited, then your brain thinks you've already experienced it. And the dopamine hit then dissolves and you haven't really built it yet. So there's this don't talk about the project until you're actually on the project. Then once you're in that beautiful experience, then go out. And that makes the dopamine hit last. That extends it. So isn't that interesting? Don't talk about it because if people can't match your desire, you lose the dopamine hit that you're after and you lose your courage. You pick up your low self-esteem about it. Well, they don't believe in me. Maybe I'm dreaming. Or they do match your desire and you have this extraordinary conversation and then it sort of let all the air out of the balloon. How interesting. The way our minds work. It's the first place we have to look is the story that we're telling ourselves about it. The story that we tell ourselves about what we want. Because everybody wants something. Everybody wants. And again, not the stuff. Everybody wants to contribute. I really want to be ... I would really love to ... Start to think about how that can be closer than you believe. Because we have been conditioned to believe that we have to just live in a male energy, action-oriented world. And that is not the power that creates it. Yes, we have to be responsible and take action steps. But before we do that, we have to have alignment. And that alignment comes from feminine energetics. That comes from a state of being. That comes from engaging super consciousness and recognizing that the power that creates the multiverses, the power that knows you, that runs through your veins, that you are created from the same particles of light that's in the stars. There is nothing you want that it doesn't have a direct route to you for. There is nothing that you want to evolve into that it isn't already on board saying, yes, let's have this experience. Let's expand further. Let's grow into that. But the only reason it stops is because we stop believing that we can have it. We stop believing that it's possible for us. We stop believing. We tell ourselves a story. And your story needs to be investigated. And I thought that was a very worthy conversation to have this month. Think about it. Contemplate it. I'd love to hear how you're doing with it. If I can ever help you in any way, you can reach out to me via the website, megadamsonhypnotherapy.com. Thank you, and I'll see you next month. Bye for now.
Thanks, Meg. Awesome work. Awesome. It just amazes me how Meg and I do not talk about what we're going to talk about. We basically, bring these things together, but the work always seems to support each other in these incredible ways. You light masters know what we're talking about here because we've been talking about the bodysuit for quite some time. And what happens is the bodysuit is what we project into the world, and many times we believe certain things in that bodysuit, which are our story. That's where our story resides. And when we have difficulty projecting our bodysuit, we can do it by changing our story. That's not easy to do, but it's magical, and there's help available. For those of you who are not familiar with it, she is a clinical hypnotherapist. She does work. She's done work online in over 11 countries thus far. She does some awesome work. You need some help with this? Give her a call. You've got her email, you've got her connection right there. Just come back and play this back and back it up a little bit, and you'll find her work. I'm going to bring in the group right now. They're very excited to be here. It's a wonderful day here in Las Vegas right at this very moment. We've been experiencing 117, 118 degrees. Today it's 107, so we got a nice cool day today. Welcome. All right, I'll be right back with the Keeper of Time in just a moment. A spa for everybody. Greetings from home, dear ones. I am the Keeper of Time. I am thrilled to join you this day in your experiment on planet Earth. The work that you're doing is absolutely magical. But as we've mentioned, there's larger aspects going on that we'd like to speak of this day. First of all, we're going to talk about the pendulum. We're going to talk about the same pendulum we've been talking about since the year 2000. The reality is humanity swings back and forth until it finds a neutral space where it can work together. Well, this day, we're reaching an opportunity. It is not definite because it's really up to you. You are the conscious creators that create this world in front of you. In fact, we're going to give you a new title, and we'll explain that title a little bit later. But the title itself is the Magi of Love. You hold that deep within you. Take a breath, everyone. Smile. Feel your vagus nerve lighting up and sending out this beautiful vibration into the world around you, which helps you create your reality. Absolutely beautiful. Well done, too. Now, so many things are taking place. We've showed you many of the cosmic events that are happening behind the scenes where people don't necessarily see it. We've talked about the portals opening. We've talked about the timeline cross. Then we've talked about several of the stargates that are starting to open. All of these things taking place have been focused on the planet herself, for she is in stress and trying to reset her energies for the path forward. Well, so are you. And that is the reality of much of what you're dealing with right at this moment, is resetting that energy in a whole different way. So, take a breath. Let us join you here. Beautiful. Expect a miracle, and we will help you create it, for you set it into motion the moment you bring it into your reality. That is magical indeed. And we're going to work with you on that creation. But dear ones, I am here, for I am the Keeper of Time. And it is time to change a direction. Now, recently in the United States, you have seen some changes going on in your political structures. Oh, the game of politics that you're all playing. Well, we tell you, we're not talking about politics when we talk about a new direction. We're not talking about politics at all. For most of your politics in these areas are all built on division. Vote for us, not those guys, for those are the bad guys. Well, that's not going to work that much longer. The reality is all of planet Earth is heading in a very negative direction with the division, and you can turn it around very easily at this point. Each of you, individually as well as a collective, can shift the energy of planet Earth by recreating your own story, by creating something magical that you can bring forward and work in these beautiful ways. We tell you, it's beautiful beyond your understanding, and here you are working with it right now today. This is a critical junction for many reasons. First, not long ago, you had an indication of what was to come. The white buffalo has been born. The white bison was born and entered the earth. Now that is, according to the Native Americans, an indication of change, an indication of evolution of great magnitude. Yosemite National Park in the United States holds that white bison. It's a very sacred symbol for all of you, and all of you can gather hope from that sign from the other side of the veil. It's beautiful indeed. You'll see much of that taking place. Now, on top of that, you're being bombarded with this beautiful energy from the sun. We've spoken about this over many years, actually the last 2 solar cycles we have followed this work. We've told you about how the sun erupts and sends out this beautiful magnetic waves, which most often create the most beautiful sights that you will see behind me here. You'll see the aurora borealis in places where you've never seen it before, but we tell you this is much more than just a visual effect of planet Earth. This is the large piece that all of you are starting to understand. The magnetism is the magnetism of the heart. And when you have a solar flare, a coronal mass ejection, as you call it, it spews this beautiful energy out into the universe and hits planet Earth roughly anywhere from 72 hours to a few days later. You're being pelted with something right at this very moment. You see, recently there was an largest solar flare of this solar cycle. You have labeled it as an X-class 14, the largest by far so far this season. There's more to come. These are neutrinos that are coming into your planet, and we tell you we have a slightly different vision than most of your astrophysicists that see this, but we tell you the neutrinos you will understand at some point, but they bring a magnetic wave into the planet. And if you consider that your brain is electrical and your heart is magnetic, it can open your heart. That is magical. And furthermore, you have actually created this yourself. The beings that have planet here right now working with you in these ways are working with you to create this opportunity. They've been working with the planet herself in order to focus this energy, in order for her to heal, for her to reset her own cellular memories to her own signature vibration. Well done. Now, here you are at this fulcrum point, as the Keeper explained, moving back and forth wildly right at this moment. And you're starting to see changes. Look for unity. That is the only way for you to move to this next level, is through unity. Otherwise, you go in a very negative direction that you have already been moving. Can you see peace on your earth? Can you see love blanketing the planet in many ways? Do you see unconditional love in all these ways? We tell you that is entirely possible today, at this very moment, having to do with you. For you open your heart and open that energy in. Now, the sun is giving you that beautiful energy in order to even do that further. Now, you've seen some recent changes in the politics of planet Earth, particularly in the United States. And we tell you that we're not talking about politics. However, the politics changed as a result of these waves coming in. So that's part of what's taking place, but only a small part. You have so much more that you can create in this very moment, in creating a reality which will support you in so many beautiful ways. Take a breath, dear ones. Anchor this light all deep into your being, into your spirit. That's why you are here. And we honor every moment of your existence for that reason. Now, what is to be done at this point? Well, dear ones, there's many things you can do, but first, let's go back to something again that we have been saying for some time, but bears repeating. You live in the illusion of time, which is why I, as the Keeper of Time, are here this very day. The illusion of time is something you're starting to understand is actually an illusion. If you look at the results of the James Webb Telescope, you will find that exactly to be true. That your reality can create something very magical because of who you are in this moment now. So take that and move through it. Now, everything on your side of the veil having to do with time. You perceive it as a past, present, and future, as a linear time frame, and yet there's only one of those that exist. The now moment is the only one that is real. The future is a dream, is a potential, is an aim, something many of you put in your bodysuit and aim your story toward creating. And the past, of course, is just a memory. Now, you may think, oh, the past is absolutely certain. We know history is exactly right and never alters, but it does all the time, dear ones. You rewrite history every moment of every day, having to do with your collective story. The story has an opportunity to change from one of division to one of unity. And that's what we ask you to look for in every decision you make. What unity can come from this? Where do you go? Who can you meet? Who can you love? For that is the ultimate, having to do with this beautiful energy that you now have in front of you at this very moment. You are magicians of the game board. You are much more magical than you understand, and we have started calling you the Magi of Love. Let us explain. As we mentioned, because of time and the illusion of time, which, by the way, your James Webb telescope has now decided that time is an illusion. We find that fascinating. Beautiful that your sciences and your metaphysics are starting to come together. Absolutely beautiful. There is truth in all of it. Now, because of the illusion of time, everything on your side of the veil must travel in waves. Very simple. The words that you're hearing right now are traveling through the air. Vibrations are being put into the air, putting it through his vocal cords, into his microphone, through electronics, and into your speakers, into your own ears, through air. So air is the medium of the sound that you are hearing. Now, what is the medium of the sights that you see? Well, that is light. So everything must travel in waves, but it must travel through a medium. And now, of course, is the most important part. What is the medium of love? If you are the Magi of love, creating magic at every moment, how does it travel? Well, there's only one place where it can travel, dear ones. The medium of love is people. How many people and how much can you love? Unconditionally. Yes, of course, you have your conditional love. The reality is even your marriage vows are a statement of conditional love. We have no problem with all of your stories, all of the ways that you do work. But we tell you, the larger aspect of love is always unconditional. And there is never division in that energy. So when you take this process and you work it through in a different way, you'll start to see the magic that is held within the deep crux of you. You are the Magi of love. Send that vibrational wave out into the universe through other people. Does it mean you must love everyone completely and unconditionally? You're human, of course not. You're going to have judgments. You're going to have preferences. You're going to have experiences, some good, some that you call bad, all of which take you toward an evolution, toward your next level of existence, which is now right in front of you. We can't wait to see what takes place. The groundwork has been laid for you. But you must take those steps. So find the ways that you can be the Magi of love. What happens? It's a fascinating process. Yesterday, the keeper went to the Las Vegas Strip. He lives in Las Vegas. So he went to the Las Vegas Strip where thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people are walking around, all looking for a miracle to happen, all looking for their lives to change in some way, mostly monetarily, and working in these beautiful ways. But we tell you something very interesting. Some of the most friendly people in the world are in Las Vegas. And there's a reason for that. Because that magic, that hope, that dream, that expression of hope, that expression of creating your own reality in some way, and creating miracles too, that exist in different ways. But it's the people that do it. So we will challenge you. We have given this challenge to the Light Masters many times. Now we give it to every single person. When you run across someone that you're going to make eye contact with, you have sometimes only a brief moment, sometimes a few words. Can you light them up in those few words? Can you somehow smile, ignite their own vagus nerve in their body to radiate that energy out into the planet of unconditional love? Can you touch them in some beautiful way? To when you walk away, they're a little brighter than when you were before them. That is our challenge to you, dear ones. You are the Magi of love. You have come to this planet specifically for this reason, and the timing is perfect for your work to evolve to the next level. You are magicians, far beyond your understanding, which is why we call you the Magi. And love is your medium. Now, the framework, the substrate in which that love must travel are people. It's the only way. Now, when you look at a person, you may have a judgment about them, the way they wear their hair, the clothes they are wearing, the way they're walking, the way they're acting, the sound of their voice. Go ahead and have your judgment. That's no problem. And then find a way to love them. Just for a moment. Then you have touched them with your light. Touch them with your light and continue your journey forward. For that will change the world very quickly. You are here this day. Your space has been reserved. The love is coming in magnetic form from the sun. It's traveling at 186,000 miles per second. 300,000 kilometers per second. 7 times around the planet in 1 second. How much love can you leave in your trail of light behind you? How many hearts can you touch, even for just a moment? That is unity. But you don't know which side of a political argument someone is on, and furthermore, you could care less. Just touch them. Let that unity come back together and understand that at home you're all intricately connected, inseparable. It is only when you come to planet Earth that you put on this bodysuit and pretend to be separate. You're not. Go with the larger aspects of the universe. Know that you are loved from this side of the veil, far beyond your understanding. And yes, dear ones, you are the Magi of love. And with that, we leave you for the time. For your work is directly ahead of you. Let us light you up. Let us touch your heart for just this few moments that we are with you, so that you can turn around and give it to someone else as often as you can. It is with the greatest of honor that I greet you in this way. Ask you to treat each other with the highest of respect as the Magi of love. Nurture one another. Open those doors every opportunity and play well together in this new game. Well done, dear ones. I am the keeper of time, and I love you dearly. Aspavo, dear ones. Aspavo.